this is Brian's board with CTC. Today I want to talk about startup valuation and factors that influence it. So I talked about what investors are looking for in the past, and this is closely related, but I want to put this in a more specific context. Before any rounds of funding begin, business valuation needs to occur. And of course, as always, it's easier to figure that out when there's some kind of revenue, and it's trickier with startups. There are lots of different business valuation methods, but today I want to talk about factors that are important to many of those different methods. And in the past, I have also talked about the team and traction in episodes 6 and 10, and those are really important, but you can go back to those episodes. I won't talk about them here. Let's start with market forces. That's a huge one. And basically investors are going to be looking at deals that have happened in their industry, exits, other similar startups. If they're in a hot industry, they know about their industry. One thing that I've seen entrepreneurs do that I think is really useful is to figure out the landscape in advance for themselves. So do a little research, talk to other founders in the industry, ask them questions about how they got funding and how that worked out for them, with the evaluations if they're willing to share it. Do a little secondary research about exits and companies that did acquisitions. Put together a table for yourself in advance of talking to investors. Another important factor is having a working prototype. So if the team has had it together, good enough to put together a prototype, that is a plus for investors. And it also shows that a launch date is probably not too far away. Another factor are margins and revenue projections. So if you understand your costs well enough to have a potential understanding of your margins, and if your margins are high and you have a promising forecast for revenue growth, those are all pluses for valuation. And then finally, supply and demand of investors. So if you are one of many businesses in a so-so industry, that's going to drive the valuation down. If you have a novel technology in a hot industry, that makes it more likely that investors will pay a premium. And one other related thing here is desperation of the business owner comes into play here as well. So if you are about to run out of cash, or the competition is so fierce to get investor attention, those types of things can drive down the valuation. Overall, think about these points, these factors, as appearing on a scorecard, and that you have a goal before talking to investors to kind of increase the scores in each category to make yourself more attractive. As I mentioned, there are lots of different business valuation methods, and I plan to talk about some of these in a future episode. This has been Brian's Board with CTC.